people like to put you in a box, and people like to say, all women are like this, all black women are like this, all black women who grew up poor are like this. And I was reading through your biography, and it's stunning to me how, you didn't have an easy ride. And a lot of people these days, they claim that they had it tough and they've been through it. You went through a lot. With your dad, he suffered from PTSD. He was an alcoholic.
Abusive.
These are not things that are usually a great setup to someone having enormous confidence and being able to tackle the things that you've tackled. And where do you think that confidence came from?
It came from because my dad was very vocal about his faults and his flaws, as we all have them. And I'm getting goosebumps because my mom is in the room, and she suffered a very abusive relationship with my dad. And what I love about that woman over there is she is the epitome of unconditional love. She's never said a bad word about my father. Never. And because she allowed me to find out on my own. And you know what happened? My father told me. And then I went to my mother and I was like, Mom, why didn't you ever tell me any of this? And she said, because I never wanted to destroy. You need your father. You know what I mean? And most women would become bitter and angry. My mother never shut down to love. She stayed open to love. That woman there is something special. She really is. I'm getting emotional.
This is making me emotional. But I'll tell you, maybe we should stop the interview here and get your mom over. Taraji, nice to meet you. Look, I think what you're hitting on here is such a big issue. Also here in South Africa,
own your story.
Sure, but here we have a major problem in South Africa with fatherlessness, and there are so many young women and men who grow up without that male role model in their lives. And usually it's not their fault. It's incredible how wrong things can go for good people, But to be able to handle it in that way, and for your mom to have the foresight to have allowed a good influence, but prevented the really harmful stuff from happening to you is just that's a genius. That's a move of emotional EQ, just like very few people have.
Yeah, my mom was great in that way. Even we lived in the hood, but she didn't just keep me in the hood. She exposed me to other things, and I don't even really know if she knew that that's what she was doing at the time. I think at the time it pretty much probably she needed a break from me because I was a lot. But what she was doing was getting me out of the hood, getting me out of my zip code. Once she did that, I knew, yeah, it's a whole big world out there, And so I owe that to her because I was never afraid. Do you know how many kids I know that came from the same hood that I came from, never been downtown, or they never crossed the DC line? They just stayed in the hood. That's all they know. I tell kids when I speak at risk youth, I always say, get out of your zip code. Just get on the bus and just take a ride. And just once you get out of that place, you get to meet new people, different people who have different stories than where you come from. You're like, hey, I like where you go. Maybe I'll visit there someday. Then you get to dream, But if you stay locked in your cage, how can you dream? How? You got to get out in the world. Be in and of the world. Even if it's just in another zip code.
I think your characters in all of the shows and the movies that you've been in are also an open door for people to walk through and figure out things about themselves. And you said it yourself that you want to represent different kinds of black women, and you want to represent different kinds of people.
Yeah, exactly.
And certainly that's a very lofty goal, because a lot of people in the acting business will take a role, and the fact that you've got to a point also where you're now in charge of your own destiny, and you can choose what you'd like to do and what you don't want to do.
Yes.
You can make it matter. And that's no small achievement. Do you look back on your life now, because by no means have you necessarily reached the highest point yet, but you're certainly right up there.
Right.
Do you look yeah, you look back on your life now and go, this is just unbelievable. I have to pinch myself.
Yeah, I do. I still pinch myself sometimes. Like when I got offered What Men Want, the president of the studio, Brian Robbins, got on a plane to come to me in Chicago. Usually they make you come to them. I was like, the president of Paramount is coming to see me. And that I had to pinch myself. I was like, okay, wow, I'm really green lighting films. You know, I had a Christmas special on Fox for 3 seasons. And it was so invigorating to walk on that set and look around and see all of these people working and know that they have jobs right before the holidays because of me. That is a feeling that I can't even explain.
It's a lot of pressure, though.
It's a responsibility.
Right.
It's a responsibility. And I know that. I'm very clear on that.